anyone who is excuse anyone who has not heard this, super excited because if you didn't hear, as of yesterday, there's been a massive kind of coalition of automakers, including BMW, Mercedes, Hyundai, Kia, Stellantis, Honda, and GM. All of them are now coming together, and these seven automakers have basically said that they're going to now build a superior DC charge states and eventually into Canada as well. I have their entire thing up here, and it's kind of amazing. So the target that they have is to build, install at least 30,000 high-powered charge units in urban and highway locations to ensure customers can charge whenever and wherever they need. Super interesting, especially because, as many people may know, as of this moment right now, sorry about the shaky thing, I'm on my table, it's very not stable. But as of right now, the entire basically like reliable charging network is dominated by Tesla and their supercharging network. Why? Because they've had a head start on it and they've gone through a couple of iterations. They're on the third version of it, and now everything else is built reliable on the whole as Tesla is. I think Tesla's their recent thing that they put out was their entire downtime of them is something like they have 99.4% uptime, which is amazing. And of course, you always see more and more of them going in. The problem is, most people that are getting cars are not getting necessarily getting Teslas if they're getting electric cars. So what they need is they need something that can do both. And the interesting thing about this entire thing that they have going on here is that they're saying that the charge stations will be accessible to all EV customers, which means that it'll offer not only CCS1 for legacy users and ones that were not Tesla adapters, but also the NACS, the North American Charging Standard, aka the Tesla Chargers. So if that's the case, this is not going to be just a, FU Tesla thing. It's okay, we need to get more people ready for electric cars that are currently waiting for it and have not done it yet. Well, I kind of only charge at home and maybe at work and the occasional thing on the highway. But the concept of this is that the thing they put in their actual press release here that I find super interesting, charging network is going to elevate. If that's the case, the idea behind it is similar to Tesla standard plug, that you'd be able to go to any of these stations, state, but also federal funding to get this thing done. And the idea is that they want to have it up and running by probably August or summer of 2024. So less than a year away, which is huge if you're an EV adopter. That's really fast to bring this out. The idea is to put down about 30,000 or more chargers by the summer of 2024. If that happens, that'll be huge. And again, the thing that they're saying in here, which I find highly interesting, is that it's a quote-unquote joint venture aimed to become the leading network of reliability and high-powered charging stations in North America, which means that they're going to also expand through Canada and maybe even Mexico. We'll see if that actually happens. But that's going to be probably after that. So according to this, the first stations are expected to open in the U.S. in the summer of 2024, and in Canada at the later stage. Exactly what a later stage is, I don't know, because they don't mention it here. What they're hinting at in this entire thing is that it's all going to be plug and play, similar to Tesla. So I'm near update for existing cars, or if it's an app that you'll have to get to somehow do it. But the idea behind it is that it's going to be plug and play, which is going to be huge for anyone who's getting into a car now, but doesn't really use of any of this in terms of like what it'll cost you as the actual consumer of the electric. But I just find it very interesting because this is huge, absolutely huge. There was a big study from the Department of Energy. So the Department of Energy, as of July of 2023, has basically said that there are 32,000 publicly available DC charging stations in the United States. And as of right now, they're used by about 2.3 million electric vehicles. That's a ratio of about 72 vehicles per charger. That's not exactly the best in the world, but considering most people don't use public charging as often as they charge at home, doesn't mean it's not a bad thing. It's not like gas stations. You can't get gas at home. You can get electricity at home. So in terms of that, awesome. But the interesting thing about it is the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL, has estimated that there's going to be 182,000 DC chargers needed to support the expected 30 to 42 million plug-in vehicles, whether that's electric, plug-in hybrid, all of that, on the road by 2030. So if that's the case, this could be a massive, massive undertaking to put out the, again, quote, best-in-class charging network that will ensure that the EV infrastructure will support current and projected EV sales and will foster the adoption of electric vehicles going forward. So again, may not seem like much, but this release is basically saying that it's a huge deal, which, quite frankly, it is. I mean, you're running the most reliable network right now in America. Now, the interesting side point of this is, as I said before, if you're tuning in now versus earlier, is that these charging networks are supposed to include not just DC CCS1 charging standard, but also the North American charging standard as well. So they'll have both Tesla and CCS networks, or CCS1 charging standards. But again, what I'm most curious about personally is how they're going to implement a plug and charge no app setup. That's something I'm really curious to see, because if they can pull that off, that basically takes the number one thing that makes Tesla chargers so, useful, because it's, you just walk up, take it out, plug it in, there it goes. Now, if they're able to do that same thing with all existing chargers, that is going to be a massive game changer for anyone owning a electric vehicle right now. And if it's going to be as many charges as they're saying, that's going to rival Tesla as well. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As more information comes out about this, I'll make videos about it.